Hey there, business animals. It's Kim with Be More Business, and welcome to the Business Animal Podcast. I am here with my dear friend, Carmi Swift, who is the founder of iPoint Touch. And Carmi, how long have we known each other? How long have we been working together? It feels like 5 or 6 years.
It's been eight. It's
Oh,
been eight.
wow.
Eight. Hey, you know what they say, time flies when you're having fun. So we've been having a ball. We've been having a lot of fun for a long time.
Absolutely. And Carmi, I am so excited to have you on the show today because I truly appreciate your passion for your clients and the product that you bring to the world. So I'm going to have you talk a little bit about yourself, introduce yourself, and tell the listeners about iPoint Touch and kind of the story of how you got to this point where you have a successful software program.
Absolutely. It'll be my honor. So entrepreneur at spirit, have been basically owned my own companies, the majority of my adult life. But what the product is today that we're going to talk about, I came into because one of my own animals was injured and I was referred to find an animal chiropractor for him. So that is why, that's the beginning story of how I got here. But what the product is it's an electronic health records, or EHR system for practice management, but it's designed exclusively for doctors or practitioners who offer complementary therapies, such as chiropractic, acupuncture, body work, rehab. So all of those different craniosacral therapy, there's lots of different therapies that are now being applied for animal care that traditionally were mostly looked at more as just a human solution. And we've kind of worked around the terminology for it. It used to be kind of be called holistic and it was called alternative. I like complementary. I think complementary doesn't put a threat to our practitioners who are not veterinarians trying to drive in the wrong lane, trying to do work that is veterinary Western medicine work, but that it's a complement. It complements, work hand in hand with the true medical veterinarian who might be providing the Western care. And maybe there's come to a limit to what they're able to provide. And so they complement and work with one of our practitioners who provide one of these other services. That being said, the majority of our community users are veterinarians themselves who either embrace the complementary therapies or have walked away from some of the heavier stress that they were left with in a general practice and moved into a more quieter practice where they have more autonomy to do these other therapies in a little bit more controlled space than being in the ER or in a situation where they had waiting rooms of people waiting for them.
Absolutely. And this podcast and my whole philosophy in life is to create a business that supports the life you want to live. And so many times, I see veterinarians in particular, they struggle with all of the stress and pressure that they're put under in their day-to-day business. So I can completely understand how somebody might want to step away from all of that pressure. And by the way, as I say that, I want to sincerely thank all the veterinarians out there that are listening to this that have chosen to stay in their traditional practices. I dearly adore my veterinarian and want him and his entire veterinarian staff well taken care of. And I want to talk a little bit about something I know that's near and dear to your heart, and that is allowing your doctors through the use of your software, through the practice management software, to really free up their time to do what it is that they love to do. Can you talk a little bit about how iPoint Touch is designed to help people in these businesses, whether it be somebody who's working in the complementary therapies alone or part of the complementary therapies in a veterinarian practice, how your software really helps aid them in their endeavor to be able to do their job better?
Sure. So EHR software is not the new thing. That's been around for years. And most practitioners, especially veterinarians coming from a general practice, are very accustomed to having an EHR system of some sort. If we have doctors who are been human chiropractors or still human and doing animal, they have an EHR system that they are used to working in for their chiropractic for their humans. What was missing was a software that was specifically designed for the documentation of these unique modalities, such as the chiropractic or the acupuncture. So the more traditional Western oriented softwares don't really have the details that they are looking for and want to document with. And so what we did is we realized that there was a need for that. So that's what our system does. It is designed specifically for these unique modalities. That in of itself then allows them to be able to take much more thorough notes much quicker. It allows them to be able to, when they've gone to a school of thought and learned these other particular skill sets, it allows them to be able to see a template and verbiage that mirrors that specifically, where the Western systems don't typically specialize in these complementary therapies. So they have to kind of customize and try to just figure out how to manipulate the system if they are still doing both Western medicine and the complementary therapies. So we provide a way that it truly is a template that matches what they are trying to document. The other side of that is so for practitioners who are exclusively looking for a solution that does not offer all of the things that a Western, more traditional veterinary software might offer. They don't need all that anymore. They're just working more in specializing in these particular modalities. They need something that is lighter in weight. And I don't mean physically lighter. I mean lighter in weight as far as all of the complexity that the system has. So something that's very unique to them. So that is the other piece that we add. It's very specific to what they are needing without all the extra bloat of all the other things that they would need in a traditional generalized practitioner or practice. The other piece then is what really brought us to the table was a lot of our doctors are mobile. So a lot of them are doing house calls, barn calls. That created the real aha moment for me when I met Dr. Emily McLeod the very first time, and she adjusted my sweet dog Tate. And when I said to her and popped off, she adjusted Tate, started to write these copious notes on a piece of paper. And granted, I won't go into the whole backstory. You can read that on our website. But I had just launched a brand new software with my son for my previous company that we had designed exclusively for us. And I literally had just launched that, sold my other business, when I said to Dr. Emily, well, I could build you a software that could do that. So she looked at me and she said, I'm listening. But she said, part of the problem is I'm mobile. I don't have Wi-Fi. Now, granted, this was 10 years ago. So part of the reason that son and I had developed a software was because my prior company worked in new construction. And I needed a way to be able to document something that wasn't a piece of paper that got torn up, wet, stepped on in the mud, and then brought back to me and me try to figure out how. So the software we had developed had a complete offline app version that did not need Wi-Fi. So when I began to talk to Dr. Emily about that, she said, I'm really listening because I need something in these bars, in these remote areas. So fast forward to today, 2024, we do have cellular Wi-Fi, and it's great. But my community members consistently tell me I still get to a space where I can't get to my phone, I can't get a good hotspot. Plus, when you're tethered to a live version that requires Wi-Fi, it's sluggish. Any of you who use software know that you're on a live version, you go to click on a button, it's like, takes a few seconds, and then it moves on. Even the best of them. Where when you're in an offline file, it's immediate. It's click, 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 click. You move in lightning speed. So the ability to have that offline file was a huge asset to this community and really one of the premier things that really set this course in motion. So that doctors who were mobile no longer had to take notes on a piece of paper still at the appointment and then come home and transcribe them now into a software where they could have connection to an internet signal. So that is really how we evolved and the three key cornerstones that make us unique.
And what I love about this, because I have clients that do what your clients do. In other words, they're people who do massage therapy or chiropractic. And what's more, as an animal owner who takes advantage of those services, who has people out here to the ranch to help me with my horses and with the animals that live here. As a client, I need immediate I don't always remember what a vet says, right? I don't always remember what the practitioner says I need to do with my animal. So having it written down or printed or sent to me is great. And I can only imagine what it is like for someone who does this for a living to have to come to a farm to work on an animal, which is what they signed up to do, right? This is why they got into it, is to get their hands on the animals and to actually be present with them. That's their vision of how they want to spend their day, their week, their month, their year, is to be out there actually physically in the barns working with the animals. And then have to handwrite all of their notes, take all of the patient information. And then after a long day, because let's face it, when you're mobile, you're out there on the road for extra hours in between clients versus seeing them necessarily in an office. And, all of the sudden, you now have like 4 hours of work when you get home where you have to input all of this stuff. And that ripple effect of what that takes away from your life, right? For first of all, I rarely meet somebody in this type of a business who likes to sit at a desk. I mean, it's not the reason they chose to do what they do, right? You chose to do what you do because you love hands-on work with animals. And then you're now stuck at a desk for 4 or 5 hours. Well, that definitely drains your energy. And I also know you have a life outside of your business. Everyone, by the way, dear sweet entrepreneurs listening out there, we all deserve a life that isn't necessarily tied to exactly what we do for a living. And so there's families, there's spouses, there's dinners to be cooked, there's kids, there's best friends to go to movies with, there's networking and parties and all of the things that you need to support your life and your business and grow things in personal life and in business life. And when you're stuck, inputting all of this stuff into a software program, and that is necessary for your day-to-day job, you have to choose, right? And it's the impossible choice. Do you take away from your business time and actually working hands-on with your clients, or do you take away from your personal life? And a lot of entrepreneurs choose to take away from their personal life, and then that really suffers overall. And can you speak a little bit about what you see in the changes that happen in your clients when they can experience the freedom of not having to spend as much time at a desk?
Absolutely. So this is, of course, the topic that we could spend the rest of the day talking on. One of the things that I love when I ask a doctor often, I said, so once you implement iPoint and we achieve the goals, the reasons, the solutions that you've opted to come and look into this product and then embrace this product, then what will you do at that time? And I many times hear, go ride my own horse.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
they
Or go
don't even
spend
get a
time
chance
with
to.
my dog.
That's
Or,
right.
yeah,
That's right. That they're
absolutely.
out there taking care of everybody else's animals, and they just kind of, hey, how you doing? Feed them and walk on by. Don't get a chance to embrace that own animal of their own. So that I love that when I get that answer, and of course all the other ones that they could do. But truly, one of the things that are not one, several things I could say here. One of the things that I think about, and that is what I share with them, is every time, the minute you walk away from that patient. So you're in the appointment and you walk away and now you're ready to go to the next one. When if you have to pick back up anything later and begin to work on it, add more notes, scan something, file something, email something, collect the money later, do all the transactions, anything you have to do later, the minute you walked away from that, that money that you made. So if you charged $100 that appointment, just start taking it away, because that hourly rate you're charging for the moment you're standing in front of that animal, right? Oh, well, I'm going to be here for 30 minutes, I'm going to be for an hour. I'm going to charge $100. That sounds like great money. But the reality of that, as we all know, is the minute you drive away, you've got the time to drive, the windshield time, all the wear and tear on the vehicle. Then you get home, and then you have to do all these other things for the documentation, which you need to have for multiple reasons. But now, so that $100 an hour, by the time you get done really calculating it, you literally have just taken dollar bills and thrown them out the window. So the purpose for a product like iPoint is my goal and my hope is that we are a system that allows you to quickly document what's important. And whether that be you a doctor that says, I just need to do the basics to kind of CYA and get something out, or if you're the doctor that says, I'm methodical, I offer multiple modalities. It's a veterinarian who looks at them from a TCVM, who looks at the diet, sleep patterns, all these various other things that they want to calculate so that they can really, truly diagnose and be able to provide a treatment for the patient at a deeper level. Whatever that might be, that you have a way to document that quickly. So one of the things that iPoint does is what makes us also unique to some of the other options is that our philosophy is that each doctor comes from their own school of thought. There's multiple different schools that teach these therapies. You have your own personality. So when your doctors come out and are treating your horses there at the ranch, they are communicating with you, right? And you understand the terms, what they're saying, how they're saying it. So each doctor's philosophies, the way they talk to us is important that when they send out a report, it represents them. That report looks like the things that we talked about and discussed. So we allow them to customize the system, customize it so that if you want to do a feed and diet, you can set that up and look at what are the questions I'm going to ask? How do I want them set up? Do I want to have them in bold, highlight them, color, whatever they want to do? But they create that so that it's their exact template based upon exactly what they want. So two things happen. One is now when they pull that into the report, because they understand it, it's their flow, it's their thought, they're check, being able to calculate and get lots of data, a better report for understanding and being able to do the continued care. And it's much more quicker. So they can accomplish that while they're there present with the patient. They might have to get home if it's a larger case that has more details, maybe go home, spend an extra 10, 15 minutes on it, finish it up, get it sent out. But the key is that the majority of the time, you should be able to document everything you need to document while you're present with them. Be able to go ahead and invoice them while you're there and present. So while they're actually, giving a credit card or writing a check or giving you cash, whatever it might be, you're finishing up and you send out the report and you send out a paid invoice right there while you're with the patient. So that extremely frees up a lot of time mentally, and it frees up their time, true physical time, when they're back at home. Because what you said and what we know is their passion is with the animal. And if they're worn out because last night they had to do work for their business for 2 hours, and then their partner or somebody else is saying, can you spend time with me? Or they did have the kids or the chores, love them. Of our clients do have farms or ranches like you do, have quite a bit of livestock around that they have to take care of. So they're not able to be present. So what you said is, I feel like my joy comes in the fact that they're able to truly love what they do and not get strangled by the albatross of all of the important data that has to be done, and that they have to spend their money there and their time there. So that's why I get passionate about it, is because I know it changes their lives. I know it allows them to be able to do the things they wanted to do. The reason they got into this profession, they're able to live that out, because most of them have that dream, and before you know it, they're all of a sudden they're a technician and they're working for themselves. They got into this to not be working for somebody else, to be an entrepreneur with all these choices in this life, dream life, and they now are working for themselves harder than they probably would have worked for somebody else.
And that's a bottom line of entrepreneurship, right? I mean, that's not the goal. That's not what any of us got into entrepreneurship for, was to work harder than we would have worked for somebody else. I think about, in particular, in the profession that you serve, about the burnout that people go through, because there's a tremendous amount of burnout in the veterinarian industry, and there's a tremendous amount of burnout amongst body practitioners in general, whether it's human or animal. But in the animal industry where you serve, there's a lot of burnout that happens. And I think that the burnout that happens amongst entrepreneurs comes from a lot of this extra stuff that keeps you away from what it is that you really want to do. And one of the things, and this is true for all entrepreneurship, there's software out there to help you no matter what you do. You and I use a automation email marketing software. That's kind of how we met and how we got started in our client and I don't know, marketing professional relationship with me. So that's how we got going. But the truth is that software, whether it's iPoint Touch or whether it's any other software, when you have software in your business, it needs to be a good employee. It needs to be able to save you time. It needs to be able to do the things that you need to do, save you frustration, save you stress, save you all of the things that keep you from doing what you want to do, and that pile on straw by straw to that burnout that eventually does happen, so that you now have the emotional latitude and the physical and mental latitude to be able to work through the other circumstances in probably what is a high stress business in animal care and animal practice. Because it's hard to work with patients who can't talk, right? I mean, it's they talk in their own way, but not always directly. So, Carmi, one of the things that I absolutely adore about you is that the thoughtfulness that goes into the product that you make. You have spent a tremendous amount of time studying this. You're an animal lover yourself. I know you have dogs that you show and care for and absolutely adore. And like you said, this started because of Tate and that particular animal's needs. But I see how you bring in all of these little thoughtful things and add them to your software over time that help those practitioners. Like, I know you're just into a new launch. Can you talk about kind of the evolution of how you've seen the need for change in your industry and how you have met that need?
Sure. All these loaded questions. So I am passionate. I um, I remember when I was working 16-hour days with my previous company. The reason that the software was built originally for our other company, and I remember the morning I sat down, and my son, of course, Brooke Swift, is also in this company. I'm sure we mentioned him here, and he's the real brain behind it all. I'm the one with extra passion, perhaps, but I remember the morning that we took the software we had been building on for about 3 years, and I sat down at 5 a.m. and I was able to, on an iPad, completely do everything I needed to do for my day from one piece of software with my cup of coffee. And by the time my team rolled in at 8 a.m., I was done. They already had everything done. Everything was done. Everything was checked off in a place or moved to its next, place of point to be handled. And I was able to start my day with a brand new day, making new money, new opportunity. And I tell you, Kim, it just sunk in like my life changed in that moment. Because in that moment, I got my life back. And so because of that is why I feel passionate about this product, because I know my doctors, they are the best people on this planet that you could possibly want to work with. Caring, deep, loving people who don't want to say no to that extra animal. So they're giving their heart and soul. Most of them, a lot of them, are reluctant to even charge what their value is because they are still so want the animal to have care. And so they are such incredible people. And I know that they give, and then try to get home and live. And my goal and my purpose for being here truly is that I hope that the software that we're developing for them and that we're offering them changes their life as much as my life was changed in the moment that I put the software that Brooks and I built together for my previous company, that it would have that kind of an impact. The other product has continued on today, and Brooks has, I don't even know how many thousands of people that use that. So he's changed lives, thousands of lives. So when I look at iPoint, this is our baby product. This is my baby that I've handled for the last 10 years. My hope and my goal and what I hear from my doctors is that it's an opportunity to do what you love. And let me just provide a solution with your input and your needs explicitly that will allow you to do what you want to do. And then just let me take care of the necessary things of the scheduling, the invoicing, the documentation, let me just take care of those for you in a concise way that's been guided by the community of what you want. And so that's where my joy comes from, is I love listening. I love hearing what they want. My most difficult thing in this role is how to take all the ideas, get them all implemented. So the new product is a accumulation of 10 years of ideas and requests that we've brought to a brand new platform that we just have launched with a soft launch in June. Got about 50 people using it right now, giving me lots of great feedback. But I brought together for them, with, of course, Brooks's help and our design team help, the things they've been asking for in a new format. And my challenge is how do I do that and still keep it simple? How do I do that and make it more complex and yet still keep it efficient for you? So that's probably my biggest struggle, because they're always like, well, could you do this? Well, could you do this? Well, could you add that? Well, they're all great ideas and I love the ideas, but the more I layer, the deeper the software gets, right? The more complex it can become. So that's probably my biggest saddle that I sit in. Brooks is a phenomenal at organization. He's brilliant, and I can take things to him. And of course, my design team is just incredible also. So I'll take the information from the community, then I take it to them and have them help organize it and try to break it down into more usable pieces. But that's probably my biggest piece, is wanting to deliver what they want, and yet knowing that software can become very bloated and very cumbersome the more that you add to it. The other piece that's challenging me right now, that really is hitting me at heart, is up until right now, I, for the last 10 years, have met every single solitary doctor one-on-one and spent time training them personally, independently, to use the software. For that reason, in 10 years, I only gave one refund back. 10 years, I only offered a 60-day money-back refund to one person. And I've said, I think the reason that was true is because I helped them truly understand the software and make it unique to their needs. Because of that, Brick said, Mom, you're bottlenecking the process. You can only do so many people. And it's true. I only had so many appointment calendars, appointments on my books. And so I was just enjoying the ride. I had this wonderful little family that I know them all. Well, what's happened is that in order for us to financially be able to build the system that we have built, and with all of it we're going to be adding to it over the next year, that takes extra resources, and it makes being able to have people get to it easily and jump on board quickly without me being in the middle of it. So that is my biggest challenge, well, maybe secondary challenge right now, is how to let go of that one-on-one and hearing their story and empathizing with them and each little solution and digging in and showing them piece by piece exactly how to make it fit for them, to doing more live trainings, more video trainings. So I'm in transition. I'm trying to move into the next evolution that young doctors who are younger than I am are catching it. They get it quick. They understand it, where I'm still wanting to coddle them. So I'm still here for them. We still have a support team that can handle things for them. So I'm still here. If you need me, reach out to me. But that's a transition. I've never had 50 people sign up for the software in 1 month. I mean, so that couldn't have happened the way I was doing it before, right? So the need is there. People want the product. I've got to get out of the way and learn how to be able to provide a solution they want that does what we want it to do, but still in a simplistic format, and me to still figure out how to let them know that I love them, I care about them, I'm here for you, without that one-on-one hand holding.
Well, so I have a little bit of a privilege to see behind the scenes in some of the ways that you are solving this problem. And what I love about it, and what I want to offer our listeners, and if you're facing this in a similar way in your own business, where you're now growing to the point that you can't be as hands-on as you once were or once wanted to be, I know this, you're creating videos where you talk to people, and your passion so comes through in your voice and your demeanor and how you show up in those videos. So even though you may not be getting all of the stories back to you, definitely the people out there who are using the software are definitely getting the Carmi experience in being able to get through their training period. And I also know that you've done something really, really smart when it comes to growing. And I think this is true of all businesses that I've worked with that want to move from a one-to-one to one-to-many. Because as you stated, one-to-one, you kind of cap where you can go because there's only X hours in the day and you can't serve as many people as you want to serve. And I know in this particular situation that's super important. There's way more practitioners out there that need to get their lives back, their personal lives back, so that they can continue to do what they do and fulfill their visions. Then you could possibly serve one-to-one. So I know you're doing group trainings, so that helps with the multiplier effect. And I think any business out there that's facing that same issue or same challenge, anytime that you can start to multiply the solution to where you can serve more than one person at a time. So I still see a lot of personal touch from you, but not in a way that eats up all of your time, because at the end of the day, you're another entrepreneur who needs to live the life that you want to live, right? So
That's right.
So I think we all have to walk that fine step. And I think that brings up the perfect question to ask you here. How does being the founder and owner and operator of iPoint Touch, how does that support the life Carmi wants to live?
Yeah, great question. So, like most entrepreneurs, that first piece is that I want to be able to set my own schedule, all right?
Yep.
Live my own life, do my own thing. So that it allows me that. But the outside of that is I love to create for solutions. So anybody who knows me personally knows that I look at things and I have to kind of bite my tongue and go, oh, they aren't looking for a solution. They're happy with the way it is. You don't just keep that to yourself. So I happen to be able to, I know that I have the opportunity to be able to look at things, just like when I was sitting with Dr. Emily that day and she picked up that piece of paper. I'm like, I could build you a software for that. So I just popped off. Thank God I did. The universe was all lined up in that moment. But so this allows me creativity. I absolutely love being able to hear the issue and then do my darndest to figure out how to then make a solution for them. And thank goodness I have Brooks, because Brooks is extremely brilliant and a self-made multimillionaire. And I can take something to him, say, Brooks, this is what they want. And he can very quickly simulate it, talk to the dev team, boom, and put it right back into place. So I have an incredible strength. He actually owns 3 softwares now. He's doing his 3rd software, which I know, Kim, you have an opportunity to have hands into also, which we're going to bring to iPoint eventually. We got all kinds of cool stuff in the background that this audience doesn't know yet. A year from now, we'll have all kinds of other cool things that we're going to be bringing into iPoint also from the other new product. But I love the opportunity to create. I love that if there's a problem, there's a way for me to help be a part of the solution. And I think that's just like my doctors. I say, my joy is in serving you so you can serve the animals. So it's that level of service. This allows me a true feeling of service that I think you can get when you're working for someone else. Also, we all want to feel like we have a place in this lifetime where we're of service and offering something. But my particular passion lies in the solutions and having the autonomy to be able to go after that. And so software has just ended up landing in that over the last 10 years. It's been around the software world to be able to do that.
I love that. I love that you also get to have a family orientation to what you do as well. I know you are deeply involved with your children and grandchildren, and also allows you to have some time to spend with your dogs and your immediate family, and to be able to kind of live where you want to live. And yeah, that schedule freedom is a big thing for a lot of people. Well, Carmi, this is the business animal, and I would love if you would share a story. And my sneaking suspicion is you may have had trouble figuring out what story to share, because I know you've got a bunch of these. But would you share an animal story with us about an animal or a situation or theory that has impacted your life and business?
Sure. So if I can hold back the tears. So Tate was a German Shepherd that I had, was gifted to me, and I will call him my heart dog. I At the time, I had my other company, which is in high-end audio video, a very, very stressful company that I started that Brooks and I ran, and extremely stressful, as I alluded to already. I would work till 11 o'clock at night and get back up at 5 in the morning and go back to work, prior to us having iPoint control developed for it. And I was having severe panic attacks. And this dog was gifted to me, and he was actually my third German Shepherd, after my old girl that was 13 had passed away. And when he came into my life, I, at that point in time, was having pretty significant panic attacks just from the stress in my life. And that dog, within the first 2 weeks, he came up and he put his chin on my leg prior to me even being able to sense that I was having some anxiety come up. And I literally, he walked through that life with me, and I could begin to sense, and his being with me was so calming that literally I was able to eradicate and get rid of those during the next 2 years. And of course, then iPoint Control, our product, came into my life, and so that changed everything for my health also. But what I learned about him and about the breed, the why I have German Shepherds, is the loyalty factor. The loyalty factor of a German Shepherd is it's not about them. So while I've had Golden Retrievers and I've had Labs and I've had many other breeds, the reason I have German Shepherds, what I realized, is because they're all about you. Are you okay? What do you need? It's not like pet me, pet me, pet me. So wherever I sit, as I sit here right now, if I were to pan my camera, I have two of these dogs laying right here beside me. And the comfort that I get out of that service, they are a service animal. Their goal is, are you okay? Where are you going? And in dear sweet Tate's last days of his life, I would say, Tate, I'm just going to go get a cup of coffee. Please don't get off your bed. No, I'm coming. But he already get up and follow me to the kitchen, because his job, his happiness was in service to me. So when I think about myself, I receive joy in serving my doctors. Like these dogs who are around me, the reason I do what I do, and I'm so blessed to have this particular kind of a company, is that I truly hands on hands get to know and work with doctors who I can be a support system to them and hopefully make a difference in their lives and in their animals' lives and their families' lives, and that continual butterfly effect that they can touch one place and it goes far beyond what we'll ever know and reach. So my story is around German Shepherds and my sweet Tate. The Tate is the catalyst. And I live by the theory or the philosophy or the mantra that says it only takes a moment for a miracle to happen. And I never know what miracle that might be. And the day Tate jumped off that grooming table at the dog show, and the handler said, Carmi, we can't show him today. You need to get him an animal chiropractor. And I said, a what? And then I went back and found the animal chiropractor, took him to see Dr. Emily, the very first appointment, and I popped off with we could build the software. And in that moment, everything aligned. And so I know that this company is meant to be, I knew it was a place where I could serve. And so I get joy every day out of knowing that in that moment, that when Tate got injured, who knew how far it would extend his injury to today, the hundreds of lives that we are able to touch, that I am blessed to be able to give back to.
I love that story. I love that story. And it's so true that there are these watershed moments where there's the life before and there's the life after, and they're very defining as to how we move forward. And I'm going to go out on a limb to say a lot of entrepreneurs listening to this probably can really identify with that. So, Carmi, if we have happened to reach today somebody who's out there in the world of complementary animal therapies like chiropractic and some other words that I can't even pronounce, what is the other modality that you have in your software that I always struggle with?
Yeah, so currently the modalities are actually, we call modalities, are the chiropractor or veterinary medical manipulation, depends upon what field of school you're coming from, the acupuncture module, and then I have rehab doctors. I have several doctors, or quite a few, who still do a little bit of Western. So they do vaccinations, wellness. They are able to use the system because it's customizable. Craniosacral, I work with Maureen Rogers. Craniosacral module is almost completely in design, and then we'll be bringing that in. The massage module, I have had the wonderful opportunity with working with Northwest School of Animal Massage a few years ago. We have that designed. It's not in the system. We'll be bringing that over 2025. And so it can be adapted as far as light therapy. We do the nutritional therapy, herbal therapy. It can be utilized or customized for about anything that you want. We're also going to be adding an equine dental module to it. So currently, you can use it for about anything you want. The specific modules in it are the chiropractic and the acupuncture, and then we'll see at least probably two other ones come to fruition over 2025, along with a bunch of other great things that are going to be happening.
Absolutely. I'm off to the equine dentist on Wednesday this week. So I'll be, when you have that out, I'll be able to share that with my equine dentist. Where can people find you and get more information about iPoint Touch and reach out to see if they're maybe interested in adding it to their practice?
Absolutely. Well, it's just iPoint Touch. So if you just Google iPoint Touch, you're going to find us. It's just the iPoint and it's two T's together on that. We're pretty much, you can find us anywhere on Google, Facebook page. So ask your colleagues, ask your fellow colleagues there's a lot of Facebook groups that I find out about where it was brought up. So we are here to serve. And if you have questions, feel free to reach out to me and I'd be more than happy to visit with you. But we're pretty easy to find. You can Google Carmi Swift and you'll find us that way.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Carmi, for being on the show today. If you've enjoyed this episode, please do hit like, share it, subscribe to the channels that you're listening on, and I will catch you guys next Tuesday. Thank you again, Carmi.